Hello, I'm the peculiar Swede.
And I'm Peculiar Swede's friend, Ralph.
And you also have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I do. And it's my name, Ralph Nicklin.
That's super.
Yeah.
It's Halloween.
Yes,
And,
it is.
well, duh. Anyway.
Exactly. That's pretty obvious. My friend Linus carved out this pumpkin today with these gorgeous eyes and nasty mouth. Very creepy. Very scary.
And when speaking about creepy.
The haunted doll.
Yeah. One of my first paranormal experiences. One of my first.
Exactly. So, could you?
And that's what we're gonna talk about tonight, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. We're going to talk about this doll.
So all of our paranormal experiences.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Everything we can recall, everything we've experienced.
Yeah, and that's why there's two of us, because I can try and tell you about things the way I remember them, but often it has been me and Ralph together, and he might remember things slightly different, and that's why it's perfect that we are two.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. And that's almost like commercial, but anyway. Yeah. So, what was our first true paranormal experience together, as you recall it, except for some small things in my grandparents' house?
You mean our experience together?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we have to go back how it all started. I mean, it started when I was young and when Linus was young. We had one thing in common, and
that's true. We were young once.
Yeah, that's true. You were. We've grown older.
Yeah.
We had this particular fascination and interest in what we call urban exploration. Visiting abandoned houses, old industrial facilities, factories, everything that was pretty much abandoned by the society. For us, it was an experience to actually enter a place that the society left to nature, because that's what happened. Nature takes over, and the houses start to deteriorate, and nature takes back what it's hers. Talk about Mother Nature.
Well, you mean Greta Thunberg?
No. She has nothing to do with it.
No. Fortunately.
Well, so and we always saw this thing as pure exploration. It was like, instead of being at home playing in computer games and exploring virtual worlds, we took it to another level. We wanted to actually experience the game as real as possible. So we created a game out of reality. And we always saw it as a game, didn't we?
Absolutely. And I remember when you were having, I think it was a soft air gun.
No, yeah, it was a soft air gun, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. A bit stronger than a soft air gun, but not a real gun.
No, it wasn't a real gun.
No, and you were filming while you were having it in front of you when we explored what turned out to be our first real haunted house. Well, and it really looked like a first-person shooter when you were holding the gun.
That's correct. That's correct. I mean, like I said, we saw it as a game, but in reality, we wanted to experience all these environments that are post-apocalyptic, abandoned, but we wanted to experience first-hand experience for ourselves. in reality. So, uh, but until that point when, which I'm gonna mention, uh, nothing really happened out of the ordinary during our exploration, and we've been to many places. Uh, like I said, factories, industrial complexes, basements, attics, abandoned houses, and everything was pretty much what you would anticipate, what you would think would happen. I mean, broken stairs, dirty walls, holes in the floors, and all that sort of stuff, like you would expect in an abandoned building. And then 2003 was when my parents decided to sell their apartment in the city where I lived, and they bought a house like 15 miles away from the city. And so when I got there to this new suburb, village, suburb, whatever, I started asking the locals if they knew of any abandoned houses or abandoned mansions or farms or barns, whatever. And so one of the girls who lived there, she said, "Well, we have this ghost house."
The haunted house.
Yeah, well, the haunted house, the ghost house, whatever.
And we didn't realize that she meant that literally. We thought it was just a house that looked creepy.
Yeah, well,
Right.
at the time I thought it was just a funny name the locals had for this house she was talking about. So I didn't put much weight on the name itself. But then I couldn't help myself. I really had to get to the bottom and find out the location where it was, and well, we did. And at the first glance, it was like, okay, this looks like a abandoned farm.
Farmhouse. Farm buildings.
Yeah, farm building, farmhouse.
In the US, in Sweden, they look a bit not like in the United States, because it's like the farmhouse.
Yeah.
And then out of at the front or the back side, there's one or two other farm buildings usually.
It was like the letter U shape.
Yeah, U shape.
Where the bottom of the U, more rectangular, that was the house where they used to live, and then you had those barns.
And there was this like angle at the end of one of them, so you could kind of and it was a little bit like the derelict in Aliens.
They were attached in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually like a letter U, but it was more like an L with one farmhouse, one barn, a bit of apart from the letter L. So when we started exploring this house, very soon we noticed that something was off. A feeling that, well, can't say I've ever felt before. It was rotten.
It was disease.
It was disease.
Insanity.
It was very infected atmosphere, very infected environment, but it wasn't something aesthetic.
And it was long before COVID.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't something you could actually see, but it was more like a feeling. Something very eerie, disturbing, rotten. It was like the whole place had a kind of sound like, go away. This whole thing is toxic. And it's not good for you to be here. Well, we as old urban explorers, we decided to ignore those signs, uh, and we kept going with our investigation and our exploration of this site. How did you feel?
There was something awfully wrong with that place, but the funny thing is that I've been there with my mom and her dude, not my dad, but her.
Did they sense anything?
No,
They did.
weirdly enough, because
Okay.
what we was doing daytime, so it was like it could be there sometimes and not be there other times, like the old museum here in Malmö,
Yeah.
the castle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so there was this one day. It was just me and Linus doing this exploration. We checked the top floor, the bottom floor.
You did.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah, I did.
You're crazy.
I checked upstairs. We went through the whole house. Checked the barn. And then for some weird reason, I decided to check if there was a basement, without actually knowing if there was any basement. So I went deeper in the house at the bottom floor, and I suddenly just like instinctively, I don't know how, but I noticed there was something wrong with the wall in that part of the building. There were like two huge boards, not like doors, but they were kind of huge, right? And so I instantly grabbed the board on the right side and I moved it towards me like I would normally open a door. And it actually moved. I could hear cracks.
It was stuck.
It was like stuck. I mean, it was pretty hard to open this door actually.
Yeah.
It had some pretty good resistance. The bottom of the board towards the floor, this concrete floor, and I felt the pressure from the board against the floor, and I opened it like this much, and then I said, "Hey, Linus, there's a cellar. I mean, there's a basement in the house." And so I went out, and then we decided to go, the two of us. What was really strange at that point?
It was also during daytime. It wasn't in.
Yeah, well, this was like 1 o'clock, 2 p.m. I mean, in the afternoon. So once we got back there, we went back there together this time. And what I didn't notice at this point was that the board, or this so-called door, was actually closed again. So instinctively, I felt that there had, a change had occurred, but I couldn't tell at that point exactly what had happened. That the door had, in fact, with this board, door-looking thing, had been closed shut. So as we proceed moving towards this door, where I'm about to show Linus this entrance to this basement, the door just opens very rapidly, like, and at that time, like Liam said, I was holding my camera, and I held my gun like this.
And funny thing, it all happened so fast. You shot before you shouted.
Exactly. I mean, I shouted, I yelled, I screamed, and instinctively, for some reason, I don't know, the finger on my trigger was faster than me yelling. And then we started running. So, I mean, we ran like crazy. I don't know. I think that was our fastest running we've ever experienced in our lives.
He ran past me like I didn't even know what happened because I didn't see the door opening. I just heard his scream and the gun, but other way around. And then he was ahead of me, but I was running as well. It was crazy. And you didn't start. You didn't stop walking either when we were out of the. Not only out of the house, but out of.
I was hysterical. I mean, I was in shock or some kind of trance. I don't know what happened to me, but
we still have that on film somewhere, so
Yes,
we
yeah,
should
we-
put that on YouTube eventually, if we find it.
yeah. Well, so we couldn't quite explain that, and also we had a digital camera, one of those old ones, from 2003, I think 2004, and we took a couple of pictures in there. In the flash, what the interesting is, what we used the flash on the camera was pitch dark, pitch black in there, and what we caught in one of the photographs was actually a pretty real face, but it looked like smoke, and we could clearly see an old man's face.
Yeah, with a big nose.
Yeah, with a big nose. Actually looked like one of the old kings of Sweden.
Yep.
Well, anyway, at that point we understood that compared to all those previous explorations of abandoned buildings, we knew that we stumbled across something that we have never encountered before. Something was different. The signature, the atmosphere, the whole place was different. It was not just a regular urban exploration.
No.
This place was something totally different.
This was a haunted house.
Exactly, and we have explored, I mean, aesthetically, by the
creepy
looks.
building.
We have, more creepy building just by the looks. But we never felt anything like this, like in this house. And then, Linus, what did you do? You brought something from that house?
Oh yes, I'm horribly ashamed for this.
No, if you.
When the house was demolished, I took one of the bricks the house was built from because it was a brick built house, and I brought it with me to a party and to see if you had a reaction, if you felt,
Yeah.
if there was something
Yeah.
at the party.
Well, here's the funny thing. Funny. I mean, the interesting part is, I didn't know about Linus bringing one of the bricks from that house to his apartment. So that day, when Linus invited me over to his apartment, I didn't know what was coming. I had no idea, but instantly when I entered his apartment,
It wasn't my apartment, it was one of our friends, I think. Björn? Or there, you know.
Yeah.
It was his parents' house.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's where you started. That's where you had
Yeah.
the brick first time. But it wasn't until you had it in your apartment where I could clearly feel it was like being back at the house, but it was in your apartment.
Yeah.
And you had the brick standing like the monolith in 2001, the movie Space Odyssey. If you haven't seen that one, it was standing there on the TV. But when I entered your apartment at that point, I didn't know that you had that brick standing there on the TV. But I knew that it was like, okay, hey guys, it totally looks like Liam's apartment, but it surely didn't feel like his apartment. It was like a clone or a copy of his apartment with what would you say, like?
With something really bad in the air.
Yeah, well, I mean, the signature, the atmosphere was pretty much the same as back at the house.
Yeah, the disease, the contamination.
So well, that's that chapter where our urban exploration learned, no, taught us something completely new about what I mean. Ghosts. When people talk about ghosts, they usually imagine, I don't know, some uh, knight on a horse with a white sheet appearing only 2 times every spring outside a castle in Scotland or England, and he will have chains and rattling with the chains and say ooh, something like that. But trust me, ghosts, demons, and all those kinds of things are just like Wi-Fi. Just because you can't see the Wi-Fi signal doesn't mean that they aren't there. The
It's like, you know, Chernobyl. You can't see the radiation.
Exactly. I mean that. Yeah, exactly. That's why they have those meters when when they're exploring the outside the and an old abandoned city of Pripyat. They're using those because that's like you said, you can't actually see radiation, and you won't see this knight on a horse with a white sheet on. Ghosts are different. It acts in a paranormal parallel universe where the only thing you can actually, unless it manifests itself in a physical form, one way or the other, the only thing you can is actually sense it. Just like when you smell something, right? I mean, you can say, "Oh, hey, my neighbor is making a dinner or maybe having a barbecue." You can actually smell it. You don't have to see it to know it, right? And ghosts are pretty much.
Yeah, but sometimes you can't see them.
Yeah, well, like I said, when they manifest themselves physically.
You have seen a little boy in my apartment.
Yeah, that's true. But well, that was our breakthrough. Well, actually, we didn't stop with urban exploration, but this led us to a new path, a new understanding that it appears that this girl who said that the name of this house was the haunted house. We had no idea how right she was. That the name wasn't just something someone made up. It actually had a meaning. Well, and let's talk about the doll. This doll.
I actually got her. I think I had this one around the same time when we discovered that farmhouse, or maybe even before. So I may have had my first paranormal experience, true paranormal experience, that was aware of before we explored that place. But her story is a bit weird. A guy I know, he and his family, they were moving into an old house, like 1920s house, very big one in a part of Malmö where I think they burned witches there, didn't they? She used to die. Did they burn witches?
Yeah, they exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, that may not have anything to do with it, but his teenage son went up to the attic, and in the attic there was like a small playroom for kids, and there was a box with 3 old dolls in, and one of them, I think it was she, because she looks guilty, actually blinked at him, and that creeped him out so much, and then he had bad luck of getting a room, and that was just beneath that attic, and he could hear that box with the dolls moving around over the floor of this room. And when I heard about that, I thought like, dude, I must have those dolls. I must test them and see if they are really haunted, because back then I hadn't even heard about the haunted dolls. I didn't know about Annabelle. I didn't know about Robert the doll back in those days. I just knew about Chucky and his fixtures.
To be honest, I mean, back then, when you got these, this doll and the other dolls, I didn't even believe that dolls could be possessed or haunted or contaminated by any force. I mean, I wasn't a believer when it comes to that. So
Neither was I.
so all right. So you did you buy those dolls?
Yeah, and he didn't want me to get them. Actually, we had put them in a basement, and he was like, no, I can't see them. I already thrown them away, apparently. But then there was some like wooden planks or something, and what was that black stuff under that? And there was this big bag, and there was the 3 dolls, and I put them in my room, in one corner of the room, and in the middle of the night, I heard like a clicking noise, 2 clicking noises.
Violet?
The eyes, yes, it's one of those dolls that can, like that, exactly like that. I think you heard that. But then, just a moment later, this started.
Ew.
And it was doing like that for, I think at least 10 seconds something. I was young back then, so I didn't dare to turn around and have a look at the dolls. It had later been confirmed by Ralph that it is this one who is the haunted one, or possessed, or whatever.
Well, what I can tell you about this doll is she does radiate some kind of energy, some kind of signature, and which I can feel in this very moment, and it's not something I can actually see. She's not doing anything. She's not moving her hands, her parts, body parts, her eyes, or anything, as you can see. But there is this energy. There is something about this doll. So, well, an old friend of ours, Jill, she came to visit us
Yeah.
in your old apartment. And what did she say when she entered your apartment?
I think she said that she got dizzy, like just when she passed, like when you enter the apartment, and there she felt dizzy, and there was this, let's say, klädkammare. Storage area.
Wardrobe? Yeah.
Wardrobe, yeah, big wardrobe, and I had put her in there, and she didn't know about that, but she felt something very
Well,
strange.
our old friend Jill, she's kind of peculiar and special in a way. I mean, it's like she has these channels open where she's able to receive certain signals or other paranormal frequencies. It's hard to describe. I mean, I don't think she herself is aware of it, but she sure as hell can detect it, and that's what she did when she was in the hallway between her bathroom and the wardrobe area, where the doll was located at that point. And then something else happened.
This looks weird if you're not European. Sorry.
That's true. Well, in Europe we have 220 volts, and in North America I guess we had 110 volts.
Yeah.
So, and then something happened. You bought this all antique piece of furniture, at your previous apartment where we lived, where you had the doll, and then you started having these kind of weird dreams about kittens
Yeah, that was.
being in one of the drawers trying to get out,
And they were dying.
they were,
they were sick and
sorry,
dying.
they were dying inside this drawer.
Yeah.
And then something happened. I don't know if this is the doll and this piece of furniture started to. I mean, did they have any effect on each other? Did they merge in any way?
I don't know.
But you said something about you can't take it anymore. You need to get out of here. You need to leave this apartment ASAP.
Yep.
Right?
And that's
that was after you got the furniture.
Yeah. And that's also when something really creepy happened. I was in my bed trying to get some sleep.
Yeah.
And this specific one could have been sleep paralysis.
Could have been. Yeah.
But I could clearly feel that when I was in my bed, someone was standing like this, and then doing like.
There was a presence, someone watching you.
Yeah, it was like. Yeah.
But
that was really creepy.
Who or what would you say you think it was or could be? This young lady over here or that piece of furniture?
I don't know, but
those kittens in the drawers.
I have heard. I had pens and brushes in one of the small drawers, and I could hear like someone was taking his hand down and just, and you heard like the pens and pencils, falling around in there, and that creeped me out, and that was when I wasn't even close to get to sleep, so that wasn't sleep paralysis.
All right, let's have a little.
And I wasn't drunk.
Let's have a little chat about these binoculars.
Yeah,
what?
that one.
These are pretty old, aren't they?
I think 1800 something, like
19th century binoculars.
yeah, late 19th century.
Late 19th century. And what could you tell about these regarding?
They look dark green, but that's just something that's wrapped around them like fake leather, and they're actually made out of brass.
Yeah.
They say brass, right? Missing brass.
Metals.
Yeah. And that's a relatively good conductor, I think.
That is, and I can actually feel the signature. They're definitely charged with this weird energy that doesn't actually have a source coming. They aren't the source themselves.
No, this is not. It's not haunted.
No, but
it's there's nothing. There's no conscience or something. No
consciousness. No.
Consciousness. No.
Well, the doll was different.
Yeah. There's there's thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, it's like she has this kind of source of awareness, which the binoculars don't have. But it seems as if the binoculars have been in a place
that was very haunted,
and they have somehow been affected by that place, by that item, whatever was these binoculars were standing very close to. They have been affected, and that's, we don't know.
Paranormal toxicity or paranormal what are we saying? Contamination. Contaminating. It was the same thing with that brick from the farmhouse.
Yeah.
I think it was we think it was contaminated.
Yeah.
After having been at that place for so many years. And we discovered that theory actually because we were watching Hellraiser, classic horror movie.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it? See it. unless you're a kid. But if you're a kid, you shouldn't be watching this because this is like real haunting stuff. But anyway, um, so I had a copy of the Hellraiser Cube, the Lamont configuration, I think it's called in the movies, that puzzle box, and it was well done. It was like made out of wood and with a thin layer of brass detailing around it.
No.
And when we were watching Hellraiser 2, I just put it on a Ralph like that. And what was your reaction when you got that close to you?
Well, I wanted it removed.
Yeah, because there was
I
something.
didn't want it near me. Yeah, exactly.
And of course, a movie prop, or not even a prop, just a model or something from a movie, that's not haunted, of course.
No.
It's like you buy a Chucky doll and say that it's haunted. No, it won't be. But it had been standing right next to this one for months. And that's when I always felt that there was something weird. When I was sitting in my kitchen and eating, I felt something.
Yeah.
And that was because the binocular was just behind you. And it had basically contaminated the Hellraiser cube. So the cube felt the same way. It was,
Yeah, well, it became like a chain reaction.
Yeah, like if you bring a metallic object to what's the name of that town where Chernobyl. The town isn't called Chernobyl. Pripyat, yes. It's getting contaminated.
Yeah, well, and then that thing that gets contaminated can in itself contaminates a new thing, and you can have this radiology chain reaction, or contaminated parts contaminate. Of course, it gets weaker after each contamination step, but still it's there.
And it disappears over time.
Yeah,
when it's something that has been contaminated. And that's the funny thing. The doll is contaminating. If you put something on the doll for like a week or something, at least if it's a good conductor, it will be contaminated. We tested a small flagpole, like the ones you put on the table when it's birthdays or such things, and it gave you a strange feeling. When I think we even did an experiment. I think I put like 3 flagpoles in front of you. Oh no, we didn't. Did I do that test or didn't I?
No, not 3, just 1.
No, they did just 1.
Yeah.
But what you feel something strange?
Yeah, I did. Well, so
I should have done the thing with 3 flags.
Yeah. So, guys, this is the first part of our Halloween special about true events. This is no bullshit whatsoever. We're not here to steal anyone's time, fool anyone. These are true life experiences. Remember, like I said before, in many cases I wasn't a believer. I always had an open mind to things that were supernatural. Never dismissed anything. I don't like the idea of dismissing because that gives me the feeling that I cannot evolve properly.
It is also not an attempt to sell the haunted doll to someone.
No, this is no
That's a keeper.
We're not trying to sell anything. We're just trying to explain that what paranormal is not what you've been taught in school or in crappy, stupid movies. It's something else.
Another funny thing, by the way.
It is more serious.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard that.
I hope it was
Yeah,
That would be
maybe he
cool.
caught it. I don't know.
I hope.
Perhaps.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, so that's all for now, and we will continue in part 2.
Just one final word when it comes to contaminations.
Of course.
It seems like the amateur house, the model, that behaves strangely.
That's what we'll talk about in the next episode.
All right.
And as a little bonus, I'll just show you the house. This is what we'll talk about.
And the Nürburg Lazaret Hospital. Yeah, that's also coming up, right?
That's all. Happy Halloween. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye.